newest one, right?
Yes, the
Yeah.
Sierra is my second baby. Super love this book. I think because, Picture Perfect was my first.
Mm-hmm.
He's not perfect. I'm not perfect. But together, we're picture perfect. And that's how I met my husband.
Oh, wow.
It's literally showing women that you can redefine your perception of marriage. You can find someone amazing and create the marriage of your dreams. And the reason this book was so key, my first book, was because marriage growing up didn't paint any of that. Like, marriage was everything but picture perfect. Marriage was contentious. Marriage was my parents fighting and arguing. Marriage was unhappiness. Marriage was broke.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Broken and just disgusted. And it was everything I didn't think marriage was supposed to be. I'm like, wait a minute, hold up. That's not what I saw Walt Disney paint on the cartoons. Why aren't y'all living that fantasy world in real life? And so when I realized that picture perfect is what you create, and I took back my power. I took back me using that as an excuse. Like my parents were divorced, so that means I'm not going to be successful in marriage. Mm-hmm. All of my friends' parents were married 30 plus years, but my parents, after 20 years called it quits. So that wasn't going to be, that was my example. I always thought I would never have a successful marriage. So picture perfect was truly the foundation of who I am, what my background looked like, understanding what my husband's background looked like. But then, once we finally made it through, we got educated on our roles. We understood what marriage was. What did God say marriage is? We're co-creators. Putting the fun back into marriage. Yeah. Realizing that you could be a Christian. You could be, a happily married wife. You could be a happily married husband. And we come together to create this beautiful union. But then the Sierra, I actually wrote out of, me understanding that women get married again and not realize that there's a difference between being a married woman and being a wife. Mm-hmm. Because for me, and like most women, you just want to get married. I want to find the love of my dreams, and I want to get married. And I want to have this beautiful day where it's all about me. I want to get married. I want to get married, but all married women aren't wives.
Yeah.
And so it was a mind shift for me. It was truly a mind shift for me. Like, wow, we talk about being a queen and being a king of our castles, but do wives truly understand their power? I started to really understand, like I said, submission. When I first looked at that word, I'm like you, girl, please. You might submit to nothing. But I thank God for wisdom. I thank him for counsel, because now I submit to my husband, and my husband submits to me, and it's such a peaceful relationship. Right. That's one thing that I didn't experience in my household. And part of it was because there was a power struggle. Mm-hmm. So there was always chaos. So I understand now the peace that surpasses all understanding, that peace that lives in my household is because we create that environment. Mm-hmm. And that environment is so important because now my daughter sees that.
Yes.
My 8-year-old daughter sees that. And she sees that, mommy's not weak. Mommy's a very, strong. She's still independent.
Mm-hmm.
I still can do my own things, but she sees me lean on daddy.
Mm-hmm.
She sees me say, you know what, no, daddy's going to do that. Daddy's going to do that for us. Showing her that this is what a man is supposed to do.
Right.
So the Sierra, I love the Sierra. One of my favorite books. Again, it is a 5-letter acronym, the Sierra, which gives women the role and the things that they must do in order to reign as queen of their castle.
That is awesome. So yeah, I know you mentioned the children, and that's another very important aspect when it comes to submission, because our kids watch everything we do.
Yes.
Where we think they may not be watching, we can say one thing for all 18 years that they're in our houses. I'm speaking just 18 years, okay? I'm not speaking 19. All 18 years that they're in the house with us. But then at 19,
longer now.
Right, I know, right? But then you find that they do something totally different than what you've been speaking into them all this time, because you've done something totally different other than what you've been saying. So your actions weren't matching your words. So that submission and children, that, like you said, is something very important to see, because with our daughters, they're watching to see that mommy can depend on daddy, as well as our sons are watching, to see what that role, what a husband is supposed to look like. what that man is supposed to look like and how they should treat their wives, and that, we're teaching our men the definition of submission. It's not when you're expecting your wife to be submissive, it's not, I have all power over you. You do what I say.
Exactly.
Right. So it's showing them that submission, what submission really is, and it's so important to our children.
Absolutely. And if I may add, Lynette, I think, it's important, especially if there's anybody that's listening who is struggling with the thought of submission. Again, we talked about, changing your perception, defining what submission is, but think about how will this improve your relationship? How can submission improve my relationship? That's one thing you got to ask yourself, and even ask your spouse, because again, if this is somebody you're joining forces with, or even if you actually are already married, ask them, how can this benefit both of us? Because submission is strength; it's not weakness. It's trust; it's not distrust. It's growth; it's not stagnant. It's so many benefits. It's peace; it's not chaos. It's loyalty. There's so many benefits of submission. If you were focused on the benefits and focus on the positive aspects of it, it's going to bring out so much more in you. Like the blessings are immeasurable. Like God will bless you beyond measure by truly following this principle. It doesn't make you weak. That's what I need you to understand. You submitting to your husband just shows honor. He submitting to you shows honor. I truly honor my husband. I may not always understand. There have been plenty times that I was like, okay, bruh, I don't know what you're doing with this, but okay. So, looking at God like, all right, Lord, what you telling him to do? And I sit back, not to see him fail, because if he fail, I fail. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
I sit back to see, okay, Lord, what is it that you're going to do in him? Because clearly he's doing something, and I promise you, when we let go, when we let go and let God, allow God to grow our men, they will step up like we've never seen them before. Like I've known my husband, I met him when I was 19. I don't know how you and Daniel, how long y'all been together?
You said,
for a minute
no, we've been together? You and hubby? We started dating 3 years ago. Almost 3 years ago.
Oh, really?
Yes, we're new, but we've been friends since 2008. Well, we met in 2008, so
yeah. Y'all got history too.
Yeah. So we got a good friendship foundation.
But that's good. I met Derek. I met my husband when I was 19. He was 20, and he's actually about to turn 38 on Wednesday.
Okay,
and
wow.
The funny thing about it is that I'm thinking that I know everything about my husband. I know a lot about my husband, but the beautiful thing is that I'm starting to learn more and more about him because he's evolving, and because I'm submitting to that. See, that's how I see it.
Yeah.
Because I submit to this. God is showing me different things about this man. He's bringing things out of him that he didn't realize were inside of him. Different levels of leadership. But I'm not fighting that growth. I'm not, putting, just bad vibes out there to stunting him from wanting to be the best man he can be because he realized that he's going to be fighting against me. No, he's not fighting against me. He's realizing that, you know what, baby, I appreciate you trusting me, and because you trust me, I'm not going to let you down. He don't want to let me down. He want to please me.
Yeah.
And sometimes he may fall short, but as women, we have to understand that that's not a failure. It's an opportunity for us to learn and grow together.
Right.
So I just want the perception of submission to start to change. And I do know there are some relationships out there where the men feel like they're dominant. And if we have, I guess we have to kind of speak on that too, because there are some men out there that's like, you're going to do it as I say.
Right.
Like, hold up. Whoa.
Right.
Why do they feel that way? And instead of getting to an argument or a verbal altercation with them, find out why they feel the way they feel. Have those signs always been there? When you were dating and courting, has he always been? It's been like that. Because now that you're married, okay, it's going to be a little tougher to deal with. That don't mean you call it quits. But now figure out why does he feel that way. And most of the time it's because men feel like they have to provide. They have, all of this is on their shoulders. This is their family. So they're taking ownership of it. But if you show them like, yeah, baby, I'm here to help. That's why I'm called your helpmate. So all of that pressure you putting on yourself, you ain't got to do that, honey. Like,
right.
you got to learn how to talk to him. You got to learn how to get him to think. Like, she's not against me, she's for me.
Right.
And then he'll relinquish some of that control. So, I mean, it's just so many different ways to look at it. But again, at the end of the day, submission is what you need in order to have a successful marriage.
Yes. It's so true. It's so true. And, oh goodness, something I had, it just slipped my mind. I think the sleepiness kicked in for a second, but but it is quite all right. But and it kind of go back to what you just said, as far as, you know, that husband, I guess, kind of taking submission the wrong way and looking at it as kind of giving orders, or you know, in that aspect of it. That kind of goes back to, like, in my eyes, first of all, okay, we all need a little Jesus, okay? we all need a little bit of Jesus. So that is so important in submission. You know, back to what we were talking about in the beginning, you have to know that the person that you're following is following the right person, you know? So if he is following God and he's following the word of God and he's striving to be more like Jesus, what, you know, as all of us Christians are trying to do, you know, just every day. I know that's something that I work on. Every single day, I want to be more and more like Jesus, you know, in every way.
Right.
So if he's striving to be like Jesus, Jesus wasn't no, you sit down and listen to what I say and do what I say now. You know, that wasn't how Jesus did things. He said, okay, listen, this is what's best for you, and I suggest you take my advice. If you don't, you just have to understand that there's going to be some kind of consequences. You know, and that's basically how it is. You know, we are to go ahead and submit to our husbands, and if you don't, just know that there may be some kind of consequences. You know, we can't just go against you know, what they said. You know, it goes back to what you were saying earlier, as far as there's lessons to be learned. You know, he may make those mistakes. They may not be the right decision at that moment, but it's not really up to us to say, oh no, husband, you are completely wrong, so therefore I am not listening. Unless it's something that he's telling you to do in sin.
Look, even though we may know, but we still can't say it.
Right. It's like, all right, okay.
But it's like a process, you know. We can't interrupt the process, and he's doing something in us too. Like, even though we are that good thing, he's a good thing as well.
Yes.
But God is working stuff out in us as well. Like, whether it's patience, whether it's, you know, understanding why we think the way we think. Because sometimes I catch myself, Lynette, like, why do you think that way? And it's like, wow, I don't know. You know, where is this thought process coming from?
Yeah.
Why am I not, you know, allowing him to be great?
Yeah.
You know, why am I hindering that? If I'm helping him, if I'm supposed to be the help man, then I got to trust and believe that his decisions, even if I don't understand them, he wants his family to be well.
Right.
My husband wants nothing but the best for our family, and I'm sure your husband is the same way.
Right. Yes, he is.
But
thank you,
their way
Jesus.
of doing what they do, the way they do what they do is totally different than the way we think sometimes.
Right.
And we just have to trust.
Yes.
Trust. I'm telling you, ladies, learn to trust. It's not going to happen overnight. Takes baby steps. Baby steps in the trust process. But just know that when nothing can take my peace. When I tell you, that's more exciting to me than anything else. Just having peace and knowing that, you know what, all this gonna work out regardless of how I see it right now. It's gonna work out
right
for both of us, because all things work together for the good. All things work together for the good. So if you can keep your focus on that in submission,
right?
Like, you know what, I'm gonna submit. Like, I'm challenging every woman that's listening right now to submit to their husband. You don't submit to boyfriends now. Let me go.
Yeah, right.
You don't submit to boyfriends. I'm talking to the wives who are married.
Yes.
Husbands, you submit to him, and you start by maybe if you're quick to speak. You know, if he says something and you quick to go off, start there. That's submission.
Yeah.
Being able to tame your tongue is submission.
Yes.
Realizing that you don't always have to say something. You don't always have to verbalize. You know, pick your battles. I know you done heard that old wives. That's a wives' tale. That's a truth. That's wisdom.
Yes, that's a current wives' tale.
You know what I mean, girl? They've been saying that forever. Pick your battles. Start there. Maybe that's what's really hindering you.
Yeah.
Because every word you speak may be death, and it's causing more friction, and it's causing, you know, things to go chaotic versus, you know, the peace. one. So start with your mouth.
Yeah. And another